You've got Christmas mail, an evil dream, and a brand new jizz theme. All this and more on today's How Did This Get Made? Last Looks. And now, Anna from Largo, sing us in.
There's a beast over Manhattan streets, plus a small-time crook who finds a body. Shepard and Powell, the detectives we meet, discover human sacrifice. Quetzalcoatl is a god from the past. Is this a sci-fi film or a crime story? Who even cares? This flick flies by so fast. 92 improv minutes to be precise. It's Q The Winged Serpent on How Did This Get Made? And it's time for a second opinion. As we go to the reviews, do you think you'll be swayed? This is by far so bizarre, but they gave it 5 stars.
Amazing! Yes. Give it up! Yeah.
Hello, all you undercover mimes. I'm your host, Paul Scheer, and welcome to How Did This Get Made? Last Looks, where you, the listener, get to voice your issues on Q The Winged Serpent, a movie that Discord user Maximum Derek thinks should have had the tagline, Q The Winged Serpent, more improv than dinosaur. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you, Maximum Derek, for plugging my own show. Yes, Dinosaur, we just got off a big week-long tour on the East Coast. For more info, you can check out my website. But that's not a plug. I don't want to be plugging right now. I want to be applauding Maximum Derek. Thank you, Maximum Derek, for that alt tagline. Remember, if you have an alt movie tagline or title, submit it to our Discord, right? Just jump on there, put it up, and maybe, just maybe, if you plug one of my shows or my book, or it's just plain funny, we will select you for this highly coveted spot of alt tagline. I don't know. We don't have a title for that, but you won. You won something there. All right, coming up on today's episode, you'll be hearing all of your corrections and omissions on Q The Winged Serpent. Then Jason will stop by to chat with me about the music and the podcast that we are currently listening to, and you're going to want a pen because we're going fast, and there's a lot of good suggestions in there. Plus, as always, I will reveal the movie for next week's episode. Heads up. Our live stream, How Did This Get Made, is doing a live stream. It's available all around the world. It's on December 12th. Plus, Jessica St. Clair is joining us, which is going to be such a blast. The movie is called You've Got Christmas Mail. Now, I know a lot of you have been saying, Paul, do Hot Frosty, but Avril watched it, and she said it's not good enough. All right, so trust us. Again, the live stream is December 12th. You can watch it 7 days after the broadcast. Just go to HDTGM to get your tickets. They're very conservatively priced. Is that the right way to say it? I don't know. All right. Are you looking for some holiday gifts? Of course you are. Do you have a How Did This Get Made fan in your life? Well, guess what? You can get a limited batch of my book, Joyful Recollections of Trauma, exclusively for How Did This Get Made fans over at podswag.com. Now, the books are very special because they come bundled with a custom bookmark you couldn't get anywhere else. I gave these out on tour. I reached out to my friend, Castle McQuaid, to make some just for this. So if you want that exclusive Paul dressed at Blockbuster bookmark, you'll get that at Podswag. Plus, each book is inscribed with some sort of a How Did This Get Made saying, whether it's a face waterfall, a geostorm, Team Sanity, whatever you get. You don't know. Plus, speaking of Team Sanity, we have these amazing new Team Fred and Team Sanity pint glasses, which look amazing. Please check this stuff out. Podswag really stepped it up this season. All right, that is all the plugs that I got. Now, last week we did talk about Q, The Winged Serpent. We had questions, and we might have even missed a few things. Here is your chance to set us straight. Fact check us, if you will. It is time for corrections and omissions.
It's time for corrections and omissions. We got a couple things wrong, but we're gonna fix that right now. That's why we're singing this song. We're gonna take a couple phone calls. Maybe you know something we don't. Perhaps you can change our opinion, but it's likely that you won't. Corrections and omissions. Our bad.
Thank you, Brash Menagerie, for that theme song. Let's go to the Discord. All right. This is what we got here. Mick G3D writes, Can we talk about how after they shot and killed the bad guy who was doing the sacrifices at the end, they just left the body in the room, closed the door, and put a do not disturb sign on it and walked away? Like, how little do they care about who is going to come and clean that room? McG3D, we talked about that in the show. It was crazy. Not only do they not care, they put a little sign there for the maid to find the body. All right, so this is a cop who he's in the scene of a crime. He committed, an act of violence. He should be filing a report, but no, he just leaves it for the maid. That's the 70s for you. Cops, you shoot them, you go home. There's no reports to file back then. Sean McBee writes, Paul's tidbit about the real scientists examining the abandoned nest long after the production had wrapped came from writer-director Larry Cohen himself on the film's commentary track. Larry said the story was on the front page of the New York Times. I was curious, so I went to the New York Times archives to attempt to find this article. I searched every conceivable term that might turn up the story, and what I found is, oh no, I know what you're doing, Sean. Larry Cohen is a big fat liar. Okay, not only was this never a New York Times front page story, but there was never a story about this in the New York Times or anywhere else because it never happened. Larry claimed that anthropologists descended on New York curious about the mysterious nest found in an abandoned police station as if it were a nest built by the ancient Lenape tribe of Manhattan, and the city constructed a police station around it. No one who finds that fake-ass looking nest in an abandoned building is calling scientists. They're calling trash pickup. Well, Sean McBee, it sounded odd. I agree, but I had to share it, and I'm glad that you were able to call out that Larry Cohen loves to make up a good story, as we all know because we loved Q The Winged Serpent. All right, lovely Lizette writes, I thought for sure Paul was going to mention it in the episode. Uh-oh, what did I do, Lizette? The woman who plays Carradine's wife was his actual wife at the time. Okay. You thought I was going to mention that. Is that interesting? We'll see. Also, the sacrifice victim was played by Carradine's brother. I'm going to bet that both castings were due to the short notice of pre-production. I agree. That's actually, you made a good point at the end. I didn't know if it was worthy of mentioning it because Carradine's wife is barely in the movie and the sacrifice victim is barely, again, these are, small parts. But you're right. I think that probably just speaks to the fact that they were so rushed. They're just, calling anybody they get to come on down. I mean, look, the director is in the movie as a sacrifice victim. He just threw himself in there. That's what I'm talking about. That's movie making. That's A24, 1970 style. All right, let's go to the phones. Rory from New Orleans. What do you got?
Paul, I was a minute or two into the Q episode, and I noticed that you scoffed at the idea of a robbery homicide unit. That is what most cop units call that. Like, if you look up any city's RHC division, and Jason should know this as a big Bosch fan, RHC is a big part of Bosch. Robbery homicide is the common denominator for that. Like, that's what they call that. So look it up. Look up, Corpus Christi RHC. It's a thing. Bye.
Rory, thank you. As a Bosch fan, I am embarrassed. I've watched all seasons of Bosch, and I'm very excited for the new Bosch spinoff. I guess what I found weird was that they were investigating them both simultaneously. It's like we got robberies, we got murders. I guess what you're saying is they're doing both. They're doing both simultaneously. So if a bank is being robbed, that's the same person who's also investigating a serial killing. If that's what you're saying, then I found it hard to believe that those same cops are doing both jobs. I would think that there would be a specialization on some level. But Rory, I'm going to believe you just like I believed Larry Cohen, that the same cops who are investigating a serial killer often also are solving robberies. All right. And you're probably right. I'm saying it like disbelieving, but you probably are right. Well, first of all, let me say this. I never saw Bosch bopping back and forth between, I saw them doing a robbery homicide, but I didn't see them doing like a robbery and a homicide. I still don't believe you, but I know you're right. All right. Ashley from California, what do you got?
Hey, Paul. So the latest episode, Q The Winged Serpent. So I am a public school teacher, a fifth grade teacher in the state of California. And we have a story in our reading comprehension curriculum called How the Fifth Sun Came to Be, which is an Aztec myth which features the god Quetzalcoatl, which is Q, the Winged Serpent. So I just wanted to share that little bit of information as we are shaping young minds here in the state of California. Bye.
Ashley, you are shaping the best young minds. We need to bring back Quetzalcoatl in schools. Gavin Newsom, I hope you're listening, because we need Quetzalcoatl in every school. We need the Book of the Suns. By the way, speaking of which, we do have an amazing shirt that we just made at TeePublic. It is called The Winged Serpent. I mean, what else would it be called? I guess, is that Quetzalcoatl? I don't know. I didn't know that he was a winged serpent like that. But I love that you're teaching that. And please, if anyone else is teaching that, let me know what the kids think about Quetzalcoatl. All right, back to the Discord. Del Preston writes, one thing I noticed during the end credits was the song, in quotes, Michael Moriarty played in the bar was actually listed as the only song on the soundtrack. He just made that whole thing up on the spot, obviously, but they still credited it. And it was titled Evil Dream. And at the end of the episode, you played that scene with him and Candy Clark, where he says,
I get all this evil dream, evil dream, go away.
And I didn't put two and two together while I was watching it. But a couple days ago, I realized it was obviously a callback to his song, and he's harking back to the lyric/title of the song, which is why he says it in a sing-songy weird way. Del Preston, hold on to your butt, because this might be the winning one. I mean, right now, you just uncovered something that blows my mind. This is what Michael Moriarty's doing. It's one of the best performances of all time. Oh, wow. Wow. I love this, Del Preston. All right, Joel from Chicago. All the things he speculated about. Improvising scenes, shooting without permits, letting actors run wild were par for the course for Larry Cohen. His maverick, reckless approach and sense of humor are well loved among cinephiles. No less than Martin Scorsese is prominently featured in a great documentary about Larry called King Cohen. We know Larry as a B-movie legend, but he also infiltrated the A-picture realm, or at least mainstream Hollywood, for penning scripts for Phone Booth and the How Did This Get Made favorite, Cellular, which is essentially Phone Booth. So I guess he had a phone-related fixation for a bit. He even wrote a movie directed by the legendary Sidney Lumet, Guilty as Sin. And now here's a note from our producer, Scott. Cohen actually also co-wrote Cellular with Chris Morgan, who wrote and produced several Fast and Furious movies. Yes, Chris Morgan, legend. And here's what I'm going to say. I have a feeling that Larry Cohen wrote Cellular, and then Chris Morgan was given that script to punch up, and he added so much of his own stuff that they got a co-credit on it. That would be my guess. I don't think that Chris Morgan and Larry Cohen were just in like a coffee bean and tea leaf, slamming out pages on that one. That is great. And I have to watch King Cohen. I know everyone's so happy that we did Q the Winged Serpent. I am too. If there's any more Larry Cohen that we should watch, let us know. Django2108 writes, Michael Moriarty is actually a genius with his tarp over the building obsession. Anyone who owns a winged creature knows that if you cover their cage, they go right to sleep. Well, that is true, right? Yeah. If they drop a tarp on the building while Q is in there, it would be an easy kill or capture, a much better solution than shooting randomly at the top of a building. All right, well, Django, 2108. I had birds growing up. My stepfather had birds, and we would put the tarp over. But here's the thing you're missing. That's for birds, not dinosaurs. I mean, that is a winged creature. You called it out. I don't know if the same rules apply for like parakeets and parrots as a winged serpent. That's a serpent, not a bird. A serpent. Anyway, so many great corrections and omissions this week, but I'm not going to lie. I already said it. There's one winner, and that winner is Del Preston, who did the hard work. He let this movie infiltrate his brain, and he found a connection to something so obscure that I think this is one of the best corrections and omissions that we've had in a very long time. Bringing it back old school. Del Preston, you are our winner, and you get nothing but this amazing song from Joel Terry. Hit it!
You win, everybody else all loses. You don't get a medal to prove it, but you don't need no accolades. You can sit back and say, I win tonight on Paul's mini episode. I win tonight on compose a teeny tiny little mini episode.
Thank you, Joel, for that song. Remember, if you want to submit a theme song to us, please email your theme to howdidthisgetmade@earwolf.com and keep them short. 15 to 20 seconds is best. And if you want to chime in with your own thoughts about the latest episode, hit up the Discord at discord.gg/HDTGM or call us at 619-PAUL. ASK. But coming up after the break, Jason will join us for a classic Just Chat. I want to remind you that if you are a fan of The Deep Dive with Jessica St. Clair and June Diane Raphael, they are doing a holiday live stream. You can get tickets for that also at hdtgm.com. It's going to be a lot of fun. I just built a brand new studio, and they're going to be christening it. That's going to be a great, fun show. Now, before we go to commercial, I have a bonus scene from our Q The Winged Serpent live show. This is exclusive just to you, Last Looks listeners. I mean, it's not that exclusive, but it's exclusive enough. Here we go. Check it out.
I did like about the cops and their relationship. I feel like in a lot of cop movies that came after this, everybody seems so young. And these guys together, David Carradine, it's like, oh, they're old.
Yes. They're old, but rest assured, they fuck.
Oh, 1,000%.
Well,
but
again,
there's something nice about that.
Again, this movie is a movie that purports that the NYPD is about 6 dudes who cover all the cases.
Yeah.
Because it seems like Richard Roundtree is, why would he even ever be talking to Michael Moriarty's character?
There is no reason to. And that's the thing. Are they detectives? Do they have a beat? Are they patrol?
Well,
and then also David Carradine is leading the operation to also take down Q from the top of the building. There doesn't
he's
seem
also
to be
interested in pursuing, Q as a winged serpent, and Richard Roundtree is like, this is bullshit. I will not abide this.
Yeah.
They're at odds, which is strange.
What's so funny to me is also David Carradine went home and wrote a book report about Quetzalcoatl. He's like, here's my report. My report is here.
And it's
not evidence. Police reports are we came in, we saw this. He seems like he wrote a book report.
He was trying to give some background information. And by the way, I would have loved to have read that report.
It looked like it was in a nice folder.
Yeah.
It reminded me of something that I might have done.
Somebody should have given more of an expositional download. I would have appreciated it.
Yes, me too.
Well, we have that whole walk and talk, the very awkward walk and talk. We have 2 of them, one outside of Columbia and one inside the museum, where they really try to break down.
Now, I thought one of the guys who was sacrificed at the end was one of those professors.
Quite possibly.
Was it?
Was
he
it?
was.
Was it?
Oh.
Interesting.
All right, I like that.
Do we ever really get insight into what they are up to?
I don't know.
Who they represent? What they're all about?
I mean, I think that they're just trying to bring back Quetzalcoatl.
That's it? Good news. He's here.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm sure you've noticed that every Monday we re-release old How Did This Get Made episodes back into our feed. I know that everyone's talking about Wicked, so we wanted to, kind of do something a little bit musical here as well. So this week's episode was Cats. Next week's will be Spice World. So we'll keep that music alive through the Thanksgiving holidays. So keep on checking out all of our replays of classic episodes every Monday. And now, without any further ado, it is time to just chat with Jason. And to play us in, we have a special theme in the style of jizz music from the Star Wars universe. Yes, we've talked about this a lot. The music in Star Wars is called jizz. That's not a joke. It's real. So move over, Max Rebo Band. It is time to hear the Action Jackson 5's Jizz Chat theme. I love it. Here we go.
Jason and Paul just chat. Talk about comics and the movie biz. Gene's got a bad feeling about this. Star Wars music and all that jizz. Jason and Paul just chat.
Jason, oh my gosh, it's been far too long.
Here we are.
Here we are, November, and we are.
It is fall, baby. If you're listening to this right now, we're probably on the East Coast.
Yeah, we've been doing shows, so come out, see us do shows, and of course, so excited for our Christmas show that's coming up, our virtual live stream.
Has the movie been announced for that? Do we know what we're watching?
It's called Christmas Mail.
Christmas Mail, M-A-I-L or M-A-L-E?
Yes.
Okay.
M-A-I-L, and it seems to be about a mailman.
I think that's not quite the title. Hold on, let me look it up.
Producer Scott, interrupting the flow.
It's called We've Got Christmas Mail.
Oh, okay.
We've got Christmas mail. So, wow. Playing off of the AOL You've Got Mail, but it's now We've Got Christmas Mail.
Jeez, this is a 2010 classic.
Oh, 2010. I was going to say, like, to be using the AOL catchphrase at this point does seem insane.
Well, what's so kind of interesting is I've been looking at this poster because I make all the ads. That's, the way we do it here. And the We've Got is very tiny. Christmas mail is very big. It almost looks like the Christmas mail, but We've Got, because I'm like, how did I miss We've Got? It's so tiny. We've Got
That's
Christmas
very
mail.
strange. And is this a... does somebody turn into something? Does an animated object?
Look, I want to enjoy it. I don't know. I don't know a
great.
thing. I know that Avril found this, and she never misses with the holiday films. I know a lot of people wanted to do Frosty Hot or whatever. There's been a bunch.
Hot?
There's a few out there that people wanted to do. There's a Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift one that Jessica.
Wait, what?
Yeah, Jessica sent it to me.
Oh, no, it's not them. You're saying it's like based on that. I get it. Yeah. I, for a second, was like, wait, have they already done a movie together? That would be amazing.
I would love to see.
I would be thrilled.
Yeah. I mean, I love that time of the year. I mean, when I go to my dad's house in New York, I'll just pop on Lifetime when I'm going to bed around Thanksgiving time, and it's already begun. Life is,
Yeah. See, for me, that period of time, I don't watch those movies. That is reserved for Gilmore Girls.
Okay.
Gilmore Girls, like Thanksgiving to Christmas, is peak rewatch Gilmore Girls a season, which is incredible.
See, now, how many seasons are there of that?
7 seasons of Gilmore Girls, although season 7, I think you can put brackets around and never watch it again because it's the season where the Palladinos were fired from the show. So it feels like after season 4 of West Wing, where the driving force of the show and its unique voice has somehow disappeared. I will say, while we're on the topic, I've started listening to the audiobook, Kelly Bishop's audiobook, The Third Gilmore Girl, a.k.a. Emily Gilmore, and it is dynamite. She reads it. It's fantastic. And you very kindly gave me a Gilmore Girls advent calendar. Thank you, Paul.
I was so excited to find that and get that for you, and I wanted to make sure you had it for day one.
Can't wait.
Day one. And here's the thing, Jason. You said 7 seasons, but do you include the Netflix season?
Well, I didn't get there because I was going to say, and there is, of course, Amy Sherman-Palladino does do her final season, which is 12 years later on Netflix, which is 4 movie-length episodes, A Year in the Life, is what it's called.
You don't seem as enthused.
Well, let me be clear. I think it's gangbusters with some fantastic cameos. Yours truly makes a cameo, but I think it's very uneven. I think though it is one of the best Emily Gilmore storylines in the show. Emily Gilmore is like one of my favorite characters in the show, and I feel like can oftentimes be relegated to like the villain or whatever. But her story overall, and including those 4 episodes of A Year in the Life, she's doing incredible work. I think Kelly Bishop is amazing. Also amazing in Bunheads, but Emily Gilmore. Here's spoilers for A Year in the Life. Only because the actor Edward Herrmann has long since passed away, who plays Richard Gilmore. And so her story is quite, incredibly one of just profound loss and grief. And that is a very compelling story.
I love that. And can I just because I've not seen it, who do you play? Who do you cameo in there as?
I play a zero. I play a nobody. I basically said, I will do anything. And they took that and they ran with it. So I am a lawyer who makes a 40-second telephone call to Rory Gilmore to fire her from a job she's had. I work for a woman who's made a publishing deal with Rory, and it's played by Alex Kingston, River Song from Doctor Who, of course. And so I'm in my only scene with her. That's it. Okay. I don't meet any of the Gilmore girls.
So you didn't get to go to Stars Hollow? I didn't go to Stars Hollow. I'm in a random building. I was there for like 40 minutes. It was the thrill of a lifetime. Oh, I can only imagine. I mean, what a... Those are the best pop-ins.
Oh,
just
yeah.
Pop in, pop out.
Especially when you're a fan, it just feels cool. And I tried to play it cool, and I was professional. And then when I was done, and the Paladinos came over to say thanks so much, I started to give them a spiel about what a big fan I was and how much this meant to me. And they were like, yeah, no, we heard. And that was it.
Oh my gosh. We were talking this weekend that my son has gotten into Star Wars, and we talked about it a little bit. And I have to tell you, did you see the trailer for Skeleton Crew?
I haven't watched it yet because I'm just going to watch the show. I'm just like, there are certain things that I'm like, oh, I'm so excited. I don't want to get spoiled. I don't want to know that this or that might happen. I don't want to be waiting for, well, in the trailer, I saw that clip of blah, blah, blah. I don't care. I want it to all feel new.
I appreciate that. I was just trying to show him, because my son now is like, well, why aren't there more things? I'm like, well, this is going to be right up your alley, kiddo. Yeah. Watch out. We're watching Taskmaster Kids. We're watching Skeleton Crew. I mean,
love that. If you've heard Paul and I talk about Taskmaster in the past, James A. Caster, a past Taskmaster contestant, just guested on our Dream a Little Dream episode, which perhaps is out by now or is imminent. But the new Taskmaster season that's airing right now is Rose Matafeo, incredible Rose Matafeo she's a Taskmaster contestant. She's starstruck. She's fantastic. Go ahead.
And she's great as the Task. It's a very different dynamic. Yeah. It's because it's kids. And it's fun though. It's still very funny. And the first thing in got me hooked. They put their assistant, the new assistant for the show.
Mike Wozniak is his name.
Yes, they put Mike on a rotating circle, right? So it's a spinning
like
around.
A lazy Susan.
Yeah. A lazy Susan, and that's spinning, and he's wearing a very tall top hat. And the goal is get as many things into my hat as you possibly can without stepping on the red that surrounds the lazy Susan. And my gosh, these kids right out of the gate figured out how to subvert that beautifully. And they got a lot of sass, these kids. Very simple task, but already I'm like, this is going to be a lot of fun.
So fantastic. He's also a favorite of mine from past Taskmaster seasons. Both of those two have been on fantastic seasons of the show.
And I think they do a good job so far of making it feel very much like Taskmaster without, there's certain things you can't do with kids. And I think rightly so. But it also is incredibly funny.
Oh, so good.
The only thing I wanted to tell you about Skeleton Crew, and I don't think this is a spoiler because it's not really.
Yeah. Oh no, you can say anything to me. I'm happy to talk about it.
Well, they got a kid, Max Rebo. Max Rebo, as you might remember from Return of the Jedi, plays the piano.
Oh, he's playing Jizz in Jabba's place. Jizz the canonical music of Star Wars.
Oh my God, I hate that. How did they do that?
Every time fanboys get all upset about George Lucas is infallible. George Lucas meant this. George Lucas meant that. This is against. Just remember that he created a music and called it Jizz.
Right. Like,
what are you doing, guys?
And like the fact that there are certain things. It's like, how did it get so far? Because it's not like, oh, he wouldn't know what jizz means.
Yep. Yeah. But why keep it? Yeah. Oh no, it's too good. Yeah. I love that there's a kid Max Rebo. Yeah, I saw that in a picture.
That's what I was very excited about. That's, I don't know much more about it.
It's got big Goonies vibes. It's just in case there might be people in the audience who don't know what Skeleton Crew is. It's a new Star Wars series on Disney that is a group of kids. It's like a Goonies kid adventure with Jude Law as the adult.
And I think it's like basically from what I understand, again, this is us talking out of school. They steal a ship. And that's where the adventure begins.
And it's John Watt who did It's John Watt who did
yes, and David Lowery is directing it. Directed some episodes, and also my friend, a director of Twisters, Lee Isaac Chung, he directed as well.
And so, David Lowery, if you aren't familiar, has done everything from Pete's Dragon to The Green Knight and, all the Ghost Story and all these incredible movies. He's one of the great, visual stylists of our time.
Well, you know what? All I'll say is, when it comes out, make sure you set some time aside to watch An Almost Christmas Story, an animated holiday short by David Lowery, produced by Alfonso Cuarón.
Oh, wow.
It has John C. Reilly is in it, Natasha Lyonne, Jim Gaffigan. It is a beautiful stop motion animation piece that he did that you will absolutely love.
Is this new? Is this something that's available right now?
It is available. I believe by this time it will be available. Yeah.
Great. So maybe we'll put it in the show notes or something.
Yes.
A link or a something.
Almost Christmas Story on Disney Plus, inspired by the events of a tiny owl named Rocky, who was found at the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree in 2020. That's how it all goes. And wow, it's great. It's just great.
Cool.
All right, so I know that you and I have both been traveling. We've been watching stuff, I imagine. What's been on your mind?
I've got a bunch of music stuff to talk about. I've got a bunch of shows to talk about.
Just some music stuff. Why not? I feel like there's been so much. I need some new music recommendations.
Sure. So I'm going to shout out a couple of live shows I've seen, and in doing so, shine light on those artists as well. So one of them we've talked about a million times before. I know you weren't able to make it, but June was Joni Mitchell at the Hollywood Bowl. Oh. Absolutely. I mean, like a Hall of Fame concert for me. I know we had an incredible time in Seattle last year.
Yeah.
And this was like that, it also was at the bowl, which was awesome, you know.
And I saw her do a little version of what we saw in Seattle. With Brandi Carlile, but this really, I heard, was like her show.
Unreal.
Like
this was unreal. So in Seattle, I'll say in Newport and Seattle, the first two kind of Joni comes out of not retirement, but comes out and is playing again. She seemed really kind of still recovering from her ailments and illnesses, and Brandi Carlile doing an incredible amount of work to kind of doing guide vocals and doubling Joni and really keeping it moving. At the bowl, this was Joni's show. She felt healthy and robust, and she was in beautiful voice, and the set list was incredible because it was all like my favorite Joni. It was all like 80s and 90s Joni Mitchell. It was like Hejira, and she played half of Hejira. She played songs off of Mingus, off of Dog Eat Dog. She played 3 songs off of Night Ride Home, which is like a 90s album that I love. Incredible song list. She played some hits, but not nearly as many as I think people wanted. It was a absolutely stunning show. And just great. And her archives have continued to be releasing. There was a great box set recently of live era Joni recordings from the Asylum years and beyond. There's great stuff in there. I saw Destroyer, Dan Behar from New Pornographers, and, of course, Destroyer.
Can I ask you just a quick question about Joni? When we were in Seattle, it felt to me like that concert was being taped. We saw drones. We saw many things. Any word on that?
So that's Cameron Crowe. Right. So Cameron Crowe has been making a Joni documentary for years.
Okay, got it. So this is part of a larger
he was shooting this as well at the bowl, I believe.
Okay.
There was cameras all over the place. So I'm assuming that all of that footage is for his documentary. That's my assumption. I could be wrong. Maybe there's something else going on or multiple things going on. But I do know, and I did see him in Seattle. So I know he's still doing that
and at
project.
the time of taping, as I just Googled him, just a few hours ago, he had his third baby.
Cameron Crowe?
Yep, at 67 years old, had his third baby.
Wow.
His first with his girlfriend. There he is.
Oh, my God.
There it is.
Holy cow.
Third kid out there. Yeah, there you go.
Knew? Yeah, good work. Good work, Cameron Crowe.
So in the Destroyer.
Destroyer, incredible show at the Lodge Room here in Los Angeles, which I love. Beautiful room. I went to the Terragram Ballroom a couple of weeks ago. Beautiful venue.
Love that venue.
Love that venue. Great folks who work there. And I saw the incredible guitar player, Mdou Moctar, who is a Nigerian guitar player, desert blues kind of guitar player, just shredding guitar solos over driving rhythms. Fantastic show. Got to meet him briefly and was absolutely fascinating. Super interesting guy to talk to.
I am a big fan of Destroyer, and I am bummed that I missed that. I don't go to see concerts anymore. I feel like it's I'm so bummed.
Well, there's some good ones coming up. I also went and saw last week, just before We had our shows at Largo.
Yeah.
Mary Lattimore, who I saw in London, had a show at Largo where she played duets with her mom, and it was incredible, who also plays harp. So it was 2 harps on stage. It was stunning. The show was phenomenal.
The way that I heard that show described was really amazing. They said that, normally in a show that is a little quieter, inevitably you'll hear the cough, the rapper, whatever it is, like those things that kind of take you out of it. And our friend Michael was like, it was deadly silent and everyone was in a full trance, enjoying the music. Like he said, it was never had been, and this is a person who works at Largo, never has he seen a show where everyone was so locked in on the same page.
He's right. That's how I felt. Everybody was like completely engaged and wrapped by the show. It was so beautiful. And, it is quiet. So you have to be quiet to listen to it and to hear it.
Right.
And it was so beautiful and so moving. The show itself was fantastic. And also so like lovely to see Mary interacting with her mom. And her mom was just a hilarious character and was wonderful. And the mom played songs by herself. Mary played some songs by herself. And then they played songs together. It was just a fantastic show. I loved it. And just for people who might be in Los Angeles, I think this is probably out there already, but Mary is going to be doing a residency at Zebulon in Frogtown in January. So I think you'll have, I think, a bunch of opportunities to see her play, which is, I really urge you to avail yourself of the opportunity to see her as much as you can, because quite often, every show she has different guests. She's like one of music's great collaborators in that she is constantly bouncing off of other people, an accordion player, a guitar player, all sorts of different stuff, which leads to such different avenues of exploration. So fantastic experience going to see Mary Lattimore.
I have to say, I met a guy in a band, and I think we were talking about this maybe backstage a little bit. I also want to recommend the Wolves of Glendale, which are a funny band. But I know that's like a hard
but they're
way
a band.
They're a band. They play great music. Their songs are great. They're on tour right now. Check them out online. If you want to check out a song, I'd say start with The Gym, and then see what you think. But they are on tour, and I just met them right before they left tour, and they had told me, Ethan, one of the members of the band, said, I just watched Trap, and I got to listen to your episode before I left. And I said, well, you better be careful, because you're playing a lot of these gigs. There might be a butcher out there for you.
It might be a trap.
Yeah, and I think...
Oh, that's funny.
I think that we're going to be in D.C. on the same night as them, so they wanted to meet up and say hey.
Oh, that's great. I met some of them. They played when we were picketing at Paramount one day. They came down, set up, and played. And I had no idea. They were great. Everybody was so excited they were there and so excited they were playing. It was a blast. They probably played for 30 minutes while everybody was walking in the big circle. And it was awesome. They were great. I got to meet them very briefly.
Yeah, really funny guys. Really, really funny guys. And also just fun. Like, that's the thing. Sometimes I feel like music takes a back seat when you have funny comedy bands, right? And this doesn't happen like that.
No, I agree. That can be often the case, which is the jokes come first. And these guys are for real musicians. This is not a joke band. This is an indie rock band that happens to be clever and funny.
I love it.
There's a new Yasmin Williams album out that I cannot recommend enough. I think it's fantastic. And then Daryl Johns, who I'm like so obsessed with, from a song he put out like 2 years ago. This guy has only had like one song on Bandcamp for years that I was obsessed with.
Wow.
And then finally he's got a new album out. And it's so far, the tracks I've heard are great. By now the album is out, but as of this recording, it has yet to come out. There's only a couple of tracks, and they're fucking fantastic. So Daryl Johns, can't recommend that enough. I think super interesting. Great. There's a lot of great music happening right now. Geordie Greep from Black Midi, the British post-punk band Black Midi, has a solo album. There's new Waxahatchee. There's new Florist. Come on, guys. There's the new Jowby record, the LA jazz ensemble, absolutely fantastic record. Yeah. Porridge Radio, new music from Porridge Radio. New music from the Innocence Mission? What? A band that existed, a Christian folk rock band from my college years, have just put out a new record? Come on.
Wow.
Great work.
I love all this. We've threatened it, but I think that people have been trying to keep up with all your recommendations. There's a lot of Spotify lists. If you go onto our Discord, you'll see people are trying to.
I got to figure this out. How to make a? I want to make a playlist, but
you just give it to me, and I could get it. Just write it up, and I'll just do it, and I'll label it as that, and then that will be it. Just tell me what you want on it, and I will show it to you before I do that. Look, I know that it's a couple weeks out now, but how are you feeling about? John Dutton on Yellowstone, Jason. I mean, a lot of people are, is he dead? We don't know. I mean, I think we're all
happen.
It's
our Yellowstonians. What's going to happen?
I mean, it looks like he killed himself. But I know that John Dutton is not a guy who's going to kill himself.
It's not how he's going to go out. I don't know. I
hope it's a in the shower thing, a very
it's a
Dallas,
Who Killed JR?
Yeah.
That would be incredible if this new Dallas-esque Western soap opera did a full-on dream season. That would be awesome.
I feel so badly for Kevin Costner. I was joking about this the other day because he took a very big shot and made this, Horizon, this 8-hour epic, and God bless. And you know what? Look, I think, we should be making we should take our shots. We should make our things. I don't know if you're reading the room 100% right by making an 8-hour long epic Western. Oof. But I will say this. The way in which he left Yellowstone as if, buddies, go fuck yourself. I did it. I am going to be on another level. And it's
so crazy to me too, because it's unquestionably Yellowstone allows him to make Horizon at this level 100%. And on this scale,
And you leave it's not to recall one of our old films. It's the Jade issue. It's our our friend from NYPD
He's David
Blue.
Caruso. He's Carusoing this all the way.
I mean, and no one ever learns. Caruso did get back. He got back on the track, but man, oh man,
did he? Did he? What, on CSI Miami?
Oh yeah. I mean that is. I mean, how many seasons did he do that? I mean, I think he probably did a bunch. It's my gosh. Yeah, he must have. It's always one of those things that surprises me. I remember I was talking to Ted Danson at one point, and I knew that Ted Danson was on CSI, and I said to June on the way home, I was like, I wonder how many seasons Ted Danson was on CSI. I think it was just a season or two, and I Googled it, and it was 7 years. He was on, it was, I'm going to double check. He was on, 84 episodes.
Wow.
He went from 2011 to 2015.
So 4 seasons.
4 seasons.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Wow.
Not bad.
Plus damages.
I think he did a spinoff, CSI Cyber.
Oh, wow. I didn't know he was on Cyber.
Yeah, he did CSI. I mean, as I'm saying, he did Cyber as well. This is we don't even know what these people are up to. 2 seasons of that. 2 seasons of Cyber.
That's really? That is the golden age right there. When a CSI could support 2 seasons of Cyber. That's it. We can't do that anymore.
Michael Irby is on Cyber.
Oh yeah.
You got a bunch of Vanderbeek Cyber. Peter McNichol Cyber.
Peter McNichol?
Patricia Arquette Cyber.
From Ghostbusters?
I mean, this is what we're talking about. I mean, It does seem that Ted comes on in season 2 of Cyber. So
okay.
Wow.
I'm gonna since we were talking about things to listen to, I'm gonna throw in a new podcast. Into the mix. One of my favorite long-running music podcasts is the great KCRW podcast Lost Notes.
Okay.
This new season of Lost Notes is all about groupies. So it's all about the groupies scene in the late 60s, early 70s, LA groupies, wild, crazy stories. I'm also at the same time watching the MTV 3-part documentary about the 80s hair metal era of the whiskey and the Sunset Strip.
I love that.
So those two are overlapping quite a bit in kind of just straight insanity. Fantastic.
I want to call out, well, you know what? Just because it's a podcast, and we could talk about the other part of this podcast in a second, I will say that I have been loving The Penguin on HBO. My friend Amy Nicholson, she hosts the companion podcast to The Penguin Show. And wow, It's been a great, I've never really done that where I've been able to time up my
That's
watch.
one of my favorites.
Great
That's
way
one of
to
my
do
favorites with and it's usually either with Chris and Andy on The Watch.
Oh,
or
right. They
with,
do a bunch of that. Yeah.
With Mallory and Joanna on House of R. Mallory Rubin and Joanna Robinson are just the two of the greatest in the biz. And then I also will listen to Joanna Robinson and on the Prestige TV podcast, where they've been talking about, so all three of those cover shows that I watch. So I'm watching Slow Horses. So not only of course, I love, it's one of my favorite shows, but then I'm also listening to all of the podcasts that are covering those episodes, Bad Monkey or whatever.
Ooh, you're
Agatha. All of those podcasts will then have episodic breakdowns of those episodes.
I got to get into more of that stuff. All right. Well, Jason, this is great talking to you. We will reconvene in just a little bit. All right. I hope you enjoyed that Just Chat, but now it is finally time to announce our next movie. We're going to be going from a shoddy cop story to a body swap Corey. How do you like that alliteration? Next week, we will be doing the 1989 body swap comedy Dream a Little Dream, starring Corey Feldman, Corey Haim, Piper Laurie, Meredith Salinger, and Jason Robards. Here is a breakdown of the plot. An accident swaps the minds of a married older man and a teenager chasing his dream girl. Yes, Rotten Tomatoes gives this film a 9% score on the tomato meter, and Roger Ebert from the Chicago Sun-Times wrote, "The plot is a disorganized mess, and the director, Mark Rocco, seems unable to tell even this simple-minded story with any degree of clarity." Dream a Little Dream is an aggressively unwatchable movie, and I have to say, Roger is not wrong, but at the same time, I found it to be interesting. I mean, it's long. It's too long. Would I recommend you watching this? Maybe on a faster speed? I don't know. You got to watch a little bit. But now listen to this bizarre trailer for Dream a Little Dream. Now, this trailer lives in my brain because I saw it a bunch as a kid, and it really kind of got me by surprise when I actually watched the movie, because the trailer does not reveal that this is a body swap movie. So when I was watching this movie, I thought I was going to see a Corey movie, and no, it's a Corey Robards movie. Anyway, take a listen to the trailer.
Sir, this is my IOU homework. IOU homework, sir.
Bobby and Dinger had high school down to a science.
Perfection.
Until Bobby decided to steal Miss Right from Mr. Wrong.
Man, it's a party! Who's got the chips?
Now, one false move, and their history. Jason Robards, Corey Feldman, Piper Laurie, Meredith Salinger, Harry Dean Stanton, Corey Haim.
Hello, honey.
Dream a Little Dream. Rated PG-13. Starts Friday at a theater near you.
Dream a Little Dream is available to stream on Amazon Prime Video, Freevee, Tubi, and the Roku channel, as well as Plex. In addition, I encourage you to check out Hoopla, Canopy, and Libby, which are digital media services offered by your local public library that allow you to consume movies, TV, music, audiobooks, ebooks, and comics for free. All right, that is it for Last Looks. If you listen on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please rate and review us. Make sure that you are following us and you have automatic downloads turned on. I'm going to say it again. Have automatic downloads turned on. It helps the show, and we appreciate it. Visit us on social media at HDTGM, and a big thank you to our producers, Scott Sani and Molly Reynolds, and our movie-picking producer, Avril Halley, our associate producer, Jess Cisneros, and our engineer, Casey Holford. And we'll see you next week for Dream a Little Dream, where we'll be joined by one of our favorites, James A. Caster from the Off Menu podcast and Taskmaster, so you won't want to miss it. Bye for now.